So welcome everyone to the Human Rights Commission meeting, and today is Monday, November the 13th, 2023 at 5:30. I am calling the meeting to order. Jay, can you do some roll call, please?
Commissioner Flood. Present. Commissioner Clary. Commissioner Rinke.
Here.
Commissioner Horn.
Here.
Commissioner Greer.
Here.
Commissioner Rimas.
Here.
There is Commissioner Ramaran. Vice Chair Vignolo,
Present.
Chair Loyola,
Present.
Student Representative Hanner.
Here.
Good.
So we have quorum.
We have one.
Great. Thank you very much, Jay. The next part of the agenda would include presentations. We have remarks by the Honorable Councilmember Christy Paulson from District 4, who unfortunately won't be able to join us today. The next thing we have is a presentation of the proclamation on Native American Heritage Month, which is introduced by Commissioner Rimas and our student representative, Jimmy Hanner. You'll receive a copy of the proclamation, but you also have a printed copy in front of you. And what I thought we would do is to go to our right. I'll introduce it. Commissioner Rimas will do the first section of the proclamation, and then we'll go 2, 3, 4, 5J, 6 Glenn, 7 Carlotta, 8 Lily, 9 our Vice Chair Vignolo, and that will conclude the proclamation reading. So it's perfect time. Okay,
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Commissioner Clary has also joined the meeting.
is he on Zoom?
He's on Zoom.
Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, welcome, Commissioner Cleary. Let's do the table for the reading. So want to make sure that everyone has their mics ready to go. And this is the introduction of a proclamation of the City of Palm Springs, the Human Rights Commission on Native American Heritage Month, which was meant to be November 13th, 2023 to December 16th, 2023. Commissioner Rimas.
Whereas Native American Heritage Month is an opportunity to celebrate the rich cultural traditions and honor the heritage, contributions, and significant achievements of Native Americans.
Commissioner Greer.
Whereas the city of Palm Springs recognizes the unique diversity and rich histories of Palm Springs Native American culture. We acknowledge countless contributions that Native Americans, which include the Agua Caliente Band of Kuya Indians, make every day to our culture and our city. And
Whereas the city of Palm Springs is proud of the rich local history of the Agua Caliente Band of Cahuilla Indians, which spans thousands of years, who are a federally recognized Native American tribe who is steward to more than 31,500 acres of ancestral land. The city of Palm Springs, Cathedral City, and Rancho Mirage, as well as areas of unincorporated Riverside County, span across the boundaries of the Agua Caliente Indian Reservation.
Whereas Native American Heritage Month is significant because it is a month to honor Native Americans, their resilience, and their contributions to American society throughout history, even as they faced assimilation, discrimination, and genocide spanning generations. Indigenous Peoples Day was first proposed at a United Nations conference in 1977 to address discrimination against Native Americans. South Dakota became the first state to replace Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day in 1989, officially celebrating it the following year.
Whereas California tribal nations have demonstrated the wisdom and leadership necessary to protect all Californians, not just California native peoples, from the existential threats of changing climate and diverse forces in society. Over the last year, California tribal nations have led the state in historic efforts to improve forest health, strengthen wildfire resilience, and restore ecosystems, deploy sustainable infrastructure, defend hard-fought protection for children and families, launch culturally informed wellness centers, and bolster justice system. Undergirding each of these efforts is our shared belief that if we are to address the most pressing issues of our time, we must do so together and in the best interests of all.
Whereas we encourage Palm Spring residents to spend time on this Native American Heritage Month to not only learning about the rich histories, traditions, and contributions of the diverse and tribal communities, but also finding ways to support tribal communities and cultivate meaningful relationships with California Native peoples.
Be it resolved, this celebration serves as an opportunity to dispel ignorance, prejudice, and fear through education about multiculturalism and the resilience and history of the countless contributions of the Native American communities.
Be it further resolved, the City of Palm Springs Human Rights Commission encourages and promotes strong and inclusive communities and is committed to recognizing and celebrating efforts to bring people together for the greater good.
November 13, 2023, meeting of the Human Rights Commission of all nations. Thank you very much. We're gonna move on to the acceptance of the agenda. Do we have a motion?
Do we have any discussions about this document?
There were spelling errors in it.
And there's some
Well, yeah,
editing
could we-
errors and references. I mean, it makes some huge claims here, which I don't doubt are true, but I mean, just some kind of references to.
Yeah,
this
I'll go ahead and
one.
make the revisions that are needed. So I saw at least two, and the references were in the draft that was sent to Hugo, Jay,
Okay.
and I believe Lily, but I'll make sure to circulate, or I'll ask Jay to circulate the draft to everybody. So that way everybody knows where did these references specifically come from.
All right, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that. So we're gonna move to item number 5, which is the acceptance of the agenda. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda?
So move.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Horn and a second by Vice Chair Pinolo. The agenda has been accepted. Vote. Those in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. So acclamation, the agenda has been accepted. We now move to item number 6, which is public comments. Jay, we have public comments.
Mr. Christian?
Yes.
Please, use the microphone and push the button to activate it.
This time has been set aside for members of the public to address the Human Rights Commission on agenda items and items of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission. 3 minutes is allowed for each speaker, although the commission values your comments pursuant to the Brown Act. It generally cannot take action on items not listed on the posted agenda. Commissioners will not enter into a discussion with speakers, but during commission comments may refer the matter to staff for report and recommendation at a future commission meeting. Welcome. Could you
Thank
please
you.
state your name for the public record and microphone?
Is this?
Yeah, just right there.
There, okay. I'm David Christian. I'm a now retired architect. I've lived in Palm Springs for 53 years now. And thank you for letting me come and speak this evening. As you probably recall, I've spoken a couple of times in the past regarding the report that was endorsed by HRC regarding the history of Section 14. And so I have a suggestion, a procedural suggestion going on that's not specific to this, but I would suggest very strongly that you not accept any documents that come into this meeting without knowing where they originated. You know, just having an author of some sort. That's a lot of the thing that's a problem about the bogus Section 14 document. And so that's just kind of a request in the future, don't do what has already happened with this. And the other is to kind of make you a little bit aware of, there's an interesting thing playing out that I'll say with a bit of dark humor. We're sort of sitting back and watching. The bogus document that was used, that came out regarding the section 14 history, says that the city of Palm Springs evacuated a lot of people in the early years of when they were, the leases that they had with the landowners that expired. And in reality, all of that land during that period was federal land. It's controlled by the federal government. Actually, the allottees have land that is held in trust by the federal government. And the bottom line is the city of Palm Springs didn't have any authority over the land for years. And so that's one of the falsehoods that's been perpetrated. Well, we're now in the interesting scenario. So the Bogus report was put together to move the Frank Bogus statue. And they seem to be having, the current council seems to be happy with the result. But related to my favorite Hemingway line, which is the bill always comes. Now they have a group that is wanting a couple $2 billion in reparations for being moved out of the section 14. And so they are now referencing the HRC report, saying the city of Palm Springs was guilty of moving all these people out. Doesn't happen to be true, but they're talking about having legal action against the city for the number they throw around is $2 billion in reparations from the city of Palm Springs. And they're using the HRC report as a foundation for that action, and saying that there's no more information needed because they've got that great report, which tells a story that they happen to love. It happens to be a lie. But so now the city of Palm Springs is in a situation where they're saying, we'd like to have more information, a true accounting, because the bogus report is putting them in a position of maybe having to come up with a couple $1 billion. So that's just kind of a point of information of what that report's doing now. And so that you can, I hope, appreciate our dark humor in watching this play out, because now the council really needs a true accounting if they're going to try to defend this $2 billion suit. So thank you very much. I hope you all have wonderful holidays and are enjoying the cooler weather.
Thank you, Mr. Christian, for your testimony. Do we have any additional public testimony, Jay?
Do we have any additional public testimony?
Anyone on Zoom?
No other public testimony, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So we now move to item number 7 in the agenda, which is chair comments, and I only have a very brief comment to make, and that is a comment of gratitude to all our commissioners who came out in support of our 2 weeks of community events. Pride was a phenomenal event weekend, and we're going to talk a little more about Pride when we get to the police department report, which is pretty amazing. But also, I want to thank everyone who showed up to Veterans Day Parade, because it was equally engaging, and it's great to be out there in the community. And I sincerely hope that for the new commissioners, this was a good experience of what it is to be out there, engaging with the community, celebrating our events, and just doing our civic duty of being commissioners. So thank you again, and also thank you for bringing your families, because that was also equally important. This is definitely a family affair. So again, that's what I wanted to share in my comments today. All right. Having covered that, we're going to move on to item number 8 in the agenda, which is the approval of the minutes for October 10, 2023. Do I have a motion to approve the meetings, the meeting minutes for October 10,
I
2023?
move to approve the
So
minutes.
Commissioner Rankin moves. Do I have a second?
I second.
Commissioner Remus second. Any discussion? So we need to bring this to a vote. Please, those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
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 So by acclamation, we will approve the minutes for the meeting on October 10th, 2023. Thank you for that. All right, so we're moving very well on this meeting. So now we're going to go into the items for discussion and action. And
Mr. Chair, can I mention one thing before you start with executive report? I don't know where this fits in, but I just wanted to, with your indulgence, recognize that this is the second day of the 5-day Festival of Lights called Diwali. And members of the Palm Springs South Asian community are celebrating one of the important periods on their religious calendar. And since we recognize other communities in Palm Springs, I felt it would be appropriate for the Human Rights Commission to recognize Diwali. I think I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah. Diwali.
And
It's more of a visa, Diwali.
let those members of that community know we are in support of them as well, and wish them a very happy festival. Goes for 5 days, so it's only day 2.
it's just an item for announcements at the end that we can kind of discuss and probably talk about what kind of actions we can take.
Yes.
Okay, so Vice Chair, let's cycle back to this in the announcements so that we can properly talk about what else we can do to recognize.
Sure.
So that it's fully noted and we can come up with an action item.
Great, thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. So, going to item number 9, which is items for discussion and action. The first item is 9A, which is the committee and liaison reports. And the first is the executive report standing committee with the assistance and help of Vice Chair Vignolo and our standing member of the executive, Commissioner Greer. We had the opportunity to meet. We had a very good, very productive meeting via Zoom to talk about these items. And we came up with a new process for submission by commissioners of items for the following month's agenda. It was felt by the 3 of us that it was really important to give every commissioner every opportunity to submit items for the next month's agenda with proper timing. Because in the past, we've experienced a little bit of last minute requests that are definitely kind of troublesome, so that some of them might not be able to make it into the agenda. And sometimes we do miss opportunities for that. So the new process for submission by commissioners for the next month's agenda. Remind me, Vice Chair and Commissioner Greer, we agreed in at least 2 weeks prior to the meeting, correct?
Right.
So we're gonna give every commissioner the ability to provide us with any requests that you may have on any items that you'd like to see included in the agenda 2 weeks prior to the meeting. So that gives us plenty of time to build into the agenda so that our staff liaison can build that item into the agenda. And when the agenda is shared with the public and is posted 72 hours prior to our meeting, is now public, part of public consumption, and it's officially included so that we can talk about it, take a vote if necessary, but everyone is now obviously able to do that, which I thought it was absolutely important. So thank you, Vice Chair and Commissioner Greer, for that.
Can I ask something? So if
Yes.
we're meeting the second Monday of the month, then it would be the end of the previous month. That
Correct.
was submitted to the executive committee. Okay, and that would be to you.
You can do this in 2 ways. You could send it to, and actually, remember that communications between the commission are channeled through our staff liaison, which is Director Brada. And you can CC me, or you can CC all 3 of us if you want to. Just want to make sure that we are following, Brown Act, restrictions for sharing communications. But yes, absolutely. So, if you do that 2 weeks in advance, we have plenty of time to make sure that things are included and we don't wait till the last minute. So we'll get better at this, as we move along.
If I could just add to, I think that the rationale behind all of this was that we want everybody to understand that would kind of be the deadline for the next meeting. So that, if you're thinking of something that you want to talk about, don't leave it until another week or so. Which it's always hard because of the Brown Act protocols, but you kind of have to structure things. So you're always think in your mind about 2 weeks ahead of where you really want to be. So you can propose things at the meeting because there's an agenda item for that. However, after the next 2 weeks go by, that's it for the next meeting. Then write it down so you can do it at the next meeting if you didn't make it on that one. Right, just so everybody understands, it's just.
And all items, that you submit will certainly be, considered. That's absolutely important thing for you to keep in mind. Anything that you come across as you're doing your commissioner work out in the community, you listen to a group, or there's a complaint, or you just thought about something that was really important and pressing to include in the agenda. Make sure that we hear about it 2 weeks in advance of the meeting. Great. We're going to be holding our next executive committee meeting on Tuesday, November 28th, 2023 at 10 a.m. This is the time where I will be meeting with Vice Chair Vignolo and Commissioner Greer, and we'll be looking at these items for inclusion to our agenda on December. So keep this in mind so that we can actually look at your submissions and make sure that everything you want to bring up to the agendas is considered. The next item, which is 9, yes.
Just to be clear, to manage expectations, building on what Commissioner Guerrero and the chair said. Part of the executive committee and why I think it's important that the full commission know when the executive committee will be meeting is that if between tonight and the executive committee, we get 50 different requests from the commissioners for agenda items. Obviously, we're gonna have to prioritize what gets on next month's agenda. And we'll just have to roll over some agenda requests to future meetings, because I think we all share a desire to try to get out of here before morning sunlight. So we don't want to have, 2-hour or 3-hour commission meetings, but we'll keep a list of all agenda items. If they don't make it next month, we'll take them up.
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
a future meeting.
But every single submission will definitely be considered. That's an important thing. There's nothing off the table, okay? So anything you want to include in those requests, please feel so moved to do that. So the next item is 9AC, which is the process and timeline for the 2023 Community Service Awards nominations and selection. And I want to make sure that you all have the opportunity to look at the city's website, where our Human Rights Commission is now publicly advertised the process for the nominations for Community Service Awards. It was posted on November the 7th, 2023 by our Director, Chief Communications Officer of the City of Palm Springs, Director Amy Blaisdell. And a couple of important dates to keep in mind is that nominations for Community Service Awards can be also made by commissioners. You can nominate individuals or organizations that you deem are worthy of being recognized by this commission. And the second most important thing is that either individuals or organizations that you're nominating should really have this thing of community service at the core of what they do. If you are interested in looking at previous nominees and awardees, the list for many years past is provided on the website. So if you're thinking of someone or an organization that you'd like to nominate, if you see that they're already listed there and they were awarded a service award, obviously there's no double dipping, which means they've already received an award, we cannot nominate them. The other thing I want to mention is that the self-serving aspect of nominations is not appropriate. If you're going to nominate someone that you are thinking about, that you're involved with that organization in some level, if you're doing like fundraising for a nonprofit and you want to nominate it, that would be considered possibly a conflict of interest. So we will discourage self-serving nominations, and we get them, and it's true. But absolutely feel free to think about individuals, organizations that you want to nominate. The deadline for submissions is this year is going to be Friday, December the 8th. On the website, the instructions for nominations very clearly indicate that the nomination forms need to go to our staff liaison, Director Vairada, and that every nomination form that is received will be considered for the awards. Last year, a small committee met with the assistance of our student representative as well, to look at every nomination, and we went very thoroughly through every single form that was received to be able to gauge all of them and then decide which ones will be granted the award based on the forms. This year is going to be something very similar. Now that we have the executive committee already in place, we're going to make sure that every nomination form that is received is reviewed, and then we come up with a list of final awardees so that we can contact them, because it's really important to keep in mind that unless they have accepted the nomination, this cannot be made public. Okay, we cannot make public the final list of awardees until every single one of them has accepted the nomination. The worst thing that can happen is you say, hey, I nominated this organization, and it's already out there in public view, but the organization decided not to accept the nomination for whatever reason, which is really awkward. And then, of course, we've got to do a little bit of chasing of those individuals to make sure that they know that they've been nominated and that they've been selected to receive an award. So it's a little bit of a process. The event, when we do hand out the awards, takes place on Monday, February 12th, 2024, which is next year. It takes place at the City Council Chambers, which is the building basically outside of here, walking toward the parking lot. It is a really fantastic event. Everyone in the community is invited to join in person. We do make remarks about the nominees, and we give them and hand them their award. The media comes and covers the event. Also, the city covers the event internally because the video is made available for public consumption as well. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful event. Last year, one of our nominees and grantees, Dan Gore, the owner and manager of Oscars and other venues, invited every single awardee to an awardee dinner that he and his staff hosted at Oscars. It was a lovely event, wonderful affair. And he covers the expense of the entire event. And he has offered to do this in perpetuity. So every year, we're gonna have the opportunity to celebrate with the awardees on a dinner, which will happen around the event when we hand the awards. For 2024, he's already told me that if at all possible, he would like to do this following the award ceremony. So that we can literally go to the restaurant and enjoy a meal together with the awardees. It's still not a firm date, but it's what he has offered.
So Commissioner, Loyola, is this a Human Rights Commission sponsored event or is
No,
the city sponsored event?
the award ceremony is a city sponsored event.
And
The award dinner is completely sponsored by Van Gord and his restaurant Oscars.
okay, how many people or how many organizations are awarded this each year?
It has varied, the last few years, and if, when you are able to look at the list of awardees, you'll see that we have more organizations 2 years ago than last year. 2 years ago, the theme across was primarily those organizations that stepped up to help folks with the COVID pandemic. There was a lot of organizations that did incredible community service, and they were recognized and awarded. Last year, we had more individuals and one organization, which I believe it was P-Flag, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Right, Lily?
Yeah, that sounds right.
And the individuals really went above and beyond to engage the community post-pandemic. I remember that very well.
I think we had like 6 or 7 nominees last year, and I think the year prior we had about 7 as well. So at least the past 2 years have been roughly 6 or 7.
But you'll see that in previous years, there's been as many as 12 or probably more.
What are the
Commissioner Horn,
parameters for a nomination? Do they have to be an organization that is in the city of Palm Springs, or is it in the Coachella Valley?
it's in the greater Coachella Valley. This is given by the Human Rights Commission of the city of Palm Springs. And the criteria, I mean, you'll be able to read it on the website specifically, but it is.
Okay,
But it is specifically to recognize individuals and organizations that go above and beyond to serve our community, to do good for our community, whatever that may be. So just one
I'm
example,
just, this is.
I'm blanking his name, the man who does, helps the community with exercises in the park.
Jason?
Jace, yes, thank you, Lily, Jace. You know, in the height of the pandemic, doesn't charge anything, brings folks out of the house, helps them with some exercise. That's a wellness thing. And he's made a very positive impact on the lives of so many. So that's the kind of thing that you want to acknowledge, right? So just think about in your inner circle of organizations and friends, if you want to do a nomination. But also helps us put the word out by taking the information and going to your own social media channels and advertising that the commission is now accepting nomination. Yes, Vice Chair.
I just have two, I guess, questions. So I know the date's not set for the dinner yet. But if it's held after the awards, right, ceremony on, February, what is it?
February
8th?
12th. February
February
12th.
12th. So that's at 6.
The event starts at 5:30 because it takes place during one of our regular meetings. And let's say that the event like last year takes about an hour and a half. So 5:30 to 6:30. So that gives us enough time to get to Oscars by 7. And so I think that the sitting will be around 7:30 or so.
But you'll let us know when the date
Yeah.
is finalized.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll have all the details for everyone on that particular dinner, but I mean, it's incredible that he really stepped up and said, I'm gonna do this in perpetuity because it's such a great thing.
And then the Human Rights Subcommittee that reviews all the nominations and submits its list of recommended award recipients at the Monday, December 11, 2023 Human Rights Commission meeting. So I'm assuming that if a commissioner submits a individual or organization for the award, that would preclude that commissioner from being on the subcommittee. Is that correct?
No, that is never been there's never been a preclusion of, if I nominate someone, I can't be there on the discussion of the merits for that organization or that individual.
So could we-
However, yes,
I mean. I'm in the middle about this. I feel like it, to an extent, does create a level of conflict of interest because you are now beyond the application. You're now beyond that, arguing for this person to get that nomination. Not to say that there's never been a rule for it before, saying that one could or couldn't do it. I just feel that it may be problematic to allow it.
so Jay, when we get to this discussion, because everything is done and complete, what's the word I'm gonna use? Anonymity,
Transparent,
anonymity,
transparency.
but also transparency, right? What have we done in the past with this regard? To make sure that nothing was really perceived as a conflict of interest.
I don't recall that situations come up, so if it does come up, I would think the nominating commissioner would recuse themselves from, say, voting on a particular organization or individual, leaving the fate of that organization or individual up to the remaining, assuming two commissioners.
How many members are on the subcommittee?
It was the
Last year
executive,
three,
it was the executive plus Lily.
which at the time was,
Oh, so that would be 4.
last year was three,
That
but
would
we didn't
work.
have an extra member, but yeah.
The reason I bring it up is because I'm gonna submit a nomination
Wonderful.
request to Jay tomorrow.
Hmm.
And so I would certainly, on a personal level, recuse myself from
Okay.
voting on that individual nomination and let the other 3 determine the merits of it. But I would think without us establishing that rule, I can't speak for another commissioner who might nominate some individual organization, but choose not to recuse. So I'm not opening this up as a can of worms, but I think since we have a short timeline, we need to be clear that that perhaps is the way we should operate, or
Yeah.
the subcommittee should operate.
I agree, because that really goes to the heart of the transparency of the process.
Well, also, just for a second, to play devil's advocate for a second, there's also the level of it where even if a member on that subcommittee didn't apply an application, but does still know that the person nominated, I still think, I mean, my previous argument still stands in the
Well,
sense that, like, I mean, you can't recuse yourself in the moment, but I'm just saying,
It's
like,
the right thing to do.
right, but I'm just saying, if you do know the person, but you didn't, like, nominate them, so you have no way of knowing, there's also that level of it too.
For point of clarification, so the executive committee goes through the applications and makes decisions about who makes the award. Okay,
Who gets the award,
so that would be 4 individuals you were saying, or 3.
right? 'Cause we had the student representative,
Okay,
plus the 3 of us.
okay. And can city employees be nominated? Are they excluded?
I think they're not, only look.
No, because this is an award that the city in some ways is giving to the awardee, so I think the city employees would be, they will not be able to nominate.
Doesn't specifically exclude them.
Could,
only
like, could I nominate a city employee? That's what I'm asking.
Doesn't specifically exclude a city.
Well, okay, so
employee,
here's the thing.
But
Here's one important aspect of it. This is people volunteering. In general, the award should be used to recognize people volunteer their time to an activity promoting universal human rights.
Okay,
However, an award may be given to a person going above and beyond their job responsibilities to promote universal human rights. I just thought of it. It's right here.
Where are you reading from?
And so I'm reading from the actual website, because I printed this, criteria for individual awardees. Let me go through this very quickly. Although an individual recipient need not to reside in the city of Palm Springs, the work for which she is being honored should be for the benefit of the residents of Palm Springs and of the entire Coachella Valley. In general, the award should be used to recognize people volunteering their time to an activity promoting universal human rights. However, an award may be given to a person going above and beyond their job responsibilities to promote universal human rights. In general, no individual should receive more than one award, even if they have continued to deserve. Past honorees can be found on the Human Rights Commission's webpage. Current human rights commissioners are not eligible to receive an award. So we cannot nominate ourselves, unfortunately. Now, for organization, this is the criteria. Both not-for-profit and for-profit organizations are eligible for the Community Service Award. Although an organization awardee does not need to be based in the Coachella Valley, the activity for which they have been recognized should affect the residents of the Coachella Valley. The CEO, executive director, president, chairman of the organization being given an award may accept the award on behalf of the organization, but it is the organization that is being recognized. And then there's all the details about submitting nominations. It's on the website, folks.
So
Right,
you
it's in
don't-
the packet.
I've downloaded
That
the
was handed
document,
out.
I can send it out to Jay, who can send it.
It's in your packet, though.
What page?
It's
Well,
It's the-
65.
fifth page of the paper clip, binder clip
Okay.
set.
I have
So
it.
you already-
Okay.
But to your point, it does not prohibit a city employee from being nominated if they meet those other elements.
I also thought the award was being given by us as a commission, not necessarily the city, even though we are doing
The work of the city.
Yeah.
well, no, that's not what I'm saying, I'm just saying that because we're holding the event in City Hall. I thought it was an award of the commission, not necessarily the city.
I think it is.
I mean, I know that we're like of service too, but I still feel we are in
I
a way
forget what they
separate.
get. What do they even get?
They get a
Plaque,
nice
right.
plaque.
They
They get
do.
a nice plaque. Mhm.
And I may say on the plaque that the city of Palm Springs.
Mhm. I remember
I've
this
never-
vividly. There's a
Does
Our-
the plaque
Never
say
mind.
City of Palm Springs?
city of Palm Springs, and it also
Yeah.
includes our logo, because remember that we do have a nice little commission logo.
Because we're so cool.
And other commissions are very jealous of us.
So how do you want to, if nominations are due by December
The
8th, and the list is being submitted at our Monday, December 11 meeting, then that subcommittee has to meet on the 9th or 10th,
Mhm.
I assume,
Yes,
via Zoom.
last year we did it over the weekend. It was like a quick turnaround.
Are we all available?
We might,
Executive committee and
we have to make
student
ourselves available.
representative Hannah.
Oh, I'm doing this,
Yes.
okay.
Was it, can we determine the dates offline, or do we need to do it here?
No, no,
That's
we can do that.
specified in the document and what's online
Nine,
on
the
the
9th and
web,
the
so.
10th are on
We're
a
talking about
weekend.
this meeting.
Yeah,
9 and 10, or something.
we'll send some potential dates for us to meet offline.
Okay.
Some, it's one of two.
Yeah, I'm free.
Okay, great.
I'm free. as
I'm
of
free.
now.
So any other additional comments or questions about the awards? We're good? Let's move on. Okay, moving on, 9A, the forthcoming survey to identify at-risk groups in the community. Leisha, can you give us a quick refresher of this?
Sure, but I'll need Commissioner Rinke's help. Because we worked on this together as we were reviewing the rules and standard operating procedures document, which we will talk about shortly. And at your suggestion, Mr. Chair, we have ready to release to all commissioners a Google form
Mhm.
that we created, which will list several at-risk populations. And will allow commissioners to add their own at-risk population group if they so desire. And the purpose of this form is basically a survey. We are trying to get your input as to what are the I don't know if largest is the right word, but we're trying to identify all the at-risk population groups that the Human Rights Commission should focus their efforts, realizing that we can't work on every at-risk population group. So if 9 commissioners all identified the same at-risk population group, then most likely that's where our efforts will focus, but we'll use the results of the form and what you submit to us to come up with a
So Commissioner
list.
Vignolo, do you have a sample in the packet?
I do not, because I
Okay.
did not want to influence
Well, let me-
commissioners.
If I can clarify, just, we looked at-risk populations. There are multiple segments, the CDC, social workers, different groups that have identified the UN Committee on International Human Rights about what are at-risk populations. And so we listed a group, which I think is fairly comprehensive, maybe around 10 or 11, but just in order for us to focus on, as a Human Rights Commission, what do you feel are representative for the at-risk populations that we need to be working on or addressing our energies? I think that's
Exactly.
simple.
That's very well said.
And so the form you'll get, I guess it'll be by email with a link perhaps, but this has been a while. Since we did the
That's how it
test.
works.
Yeah.
yes.
We did a test and she was
Yes.
the recipient of the form and she got the form and she filled out the form and I got the results. And so we know it will work. The order of the at-risk populations is in no particular order. So just let's be clear on that. There is space, as I said, for you to put your own if we didn't think of one. Or add some additional comments. I think there's a field on the form. It takes all of about 2 minutes to do, if not less. So you'll each get that. If it's permissible, Jay, is it okay for me to just send it out to each commissioner? Otherwise, I guess I could send you the link and you'd send it out, but then I don't know if the results go back to you or not.
The
No,
results,
they go back to
results
you.
go back to the person who made
The form,
Oh,
yeah,
is that how it works?
Yes.
yes.
All right. How do you want to do this?
It's probably best to come from me. And, we just want to be careful. It's not a communication between the commissioners. It's a one-way information. Everyone submitting their ideas and thoughts to
Like a
Vice
poll.
Chair Vignolo.
Yes.
All right, so I'll send you the
None
link.
of us can see the results other than you.
So I'll send that to Jay tomorrow, and I don't know if he can send it out to all the commissioners. But I would like to get the results back in a week, if that's possible. As it is, basically, it's really simple to do.
It's very, very easy. Excellent. So that's what item D, the survey, it's all about.
And just so you know, part of the purpose of this is to, as Commissioner Rankin mentioned, hopefully we'll identify the top, if you will, at-risk populations we want to focus our efforts. And then this will become the genesis for what we will be calling liaisons. So, a commissioner or two will work with this at-risk population group that we've identified collectively. And so that will establish our roadmap going forward, hopefully.
Any further discussion on this item? Okay, moving along, 9A2, the police department, LGBT outreach liaison report. What I would like to share with you is that our police department released a report just recently following the Pride weekend. And our chief of police expressed his sincere appreciation to the vibrant community for contributing to yet another secure and prosperous Pride weekend in 2023. Despite this remarkable attendance, estimated 130,000 people from Thursday to Sunday in all of the activities. And an estimated 85,000 parade spectators. The police was pleased to report that only one misdemeanor arrest took place, which is a testament to the cooperative efforts put forth by the entire community. And as we all know, as an agency, the police department remains unwavering in its commitment to serving and safeguarding our diverse community, encompassing residents, employees, and visitors alike. Our police department understands the significance of maintaining a safe and welcoming environment for all. So congratulations to our police department for keeping us safe, and everyone who participated for staying civil. Okay, so that was our report, the police. We're gonna move to item 9A3, which is the master calendar liaison report by Vice Chair Viñola.
Great, thank you. So 2 items, wanted to first share with you our experience on participating in Village Fest, October 19th, student representative Hannah and I had a table at Village Fest downtown, and we had a pretty good location between 2 other vendors who attracted a lot of people. And what I wanted to talk to the commission about is a few things. One, I think both student representative Hannah and I agree that a lot of the people that came up to our table were tourists, not locals. There were some, we had, I think, 15, 20 people maybe approach our table.
That sounds about right.
And we started trying to gauge whether they were locals or tourists by asking them.
Towards the end of the night, most of them were tourists, I will say, but towards the end of the night, we started asking, so.
So I wanted to throw out to the full commission for discussion whether we think that, again, we only have done this one Thursday. But it does involve some commitment on commissioner's part and effort to go down there and set the table up, stay for 4 hours, and then disassemble it. So the question is, do we think it's worth it? And if so, to what level do we want to continue to participate at Village Fest? So I throw it open to questions or comments, suggestions.
Well, I'd like to comment on it. Perhaps it's not the right venue if it's got so many tourists. So my suggestion was the farmer's market, which is locals. I don't know, what the mechanism is to do that, but I would like to suggest that.
There's also the aspect of it that it may, no, I don't know, we're not gonna really wanna do this in the summertime, but it is cooler out. There are more, like, I guess, snowbirds in the valley, so naturally there are going to be more tourists because of the time of year. So even to that extent, there might be a seasonal aspect we might wanna look into, I mean, I don't really wanna go to Street Fair in August, but for the betterment of the commission, it might be a little bit more impactful.
I would like to jump on Commissioner Horn's comment, because I know that the homelessness initiative, I think Roman Ruiz was there at a table at the farmer's market, looking for people, to give people information about housing, about, city rescue mission, etc. As a resource. Now, there are not many homeless people that go to the farmer's market, but I think the farmer's market might be where you get a lot of residents. How many would show up? I don't know, but having a table there for a couple of hours might be another experiment to see whether we get people.
Just so you're aware, so I did, I mean, Michael mentioned, or Commissioner Horn mentioned this at the Veterans Day Parade, so of course I immediately contacted the Certified Farmers Market
Oh, yeah.
organizers.
Mm.
I have not yet heard back from them. There is a process for applying to participate. Now, I don't know if there's any monthly requirement to pay anything, but since I've not heard back, I can't
So
report on it.
I think if you're a vendor, and I'm speaking of, from my experience of helping, small business owners who do sell items at farmers markets. If you're gonna become a vendor, you need to register as a vendor so that you can sell your items, so they're asking for things like, you need to have a seller's permit and a visa certificate. But since we are obviously not selling, anything other than representing the commission, they might not ask us for anything other than to make sure that we agree to take the space and be there and, you know, follow the requirements and the instructions for being there, because there is a process.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be an issue. My only reason I want to, obviously I have to check with the organizers, but unlike Village Fest, which is a city sponsored venue,
Mhm.
Certified Farmers Market is not.
No.
So even though we're a city commission, because it's not sponsored by the city of Palm Springs, I don't know what they'll require of us. I'll find that out hopefully soon. The only caveat to doing the Certified Farmers Market is, again, commissioners are gonna have to sign up to staff the table. And it's unlike Village Fest, it's Saturday mornings, 8 a.m., probably showing up at 7 to 7:30 in the morning. And it's, I think, 8 a.m. to 12 noon outside the
Cultural center.
at the cultural center.
Mhm.
And then when it gets hot, they move it indoors into the pavilion. But it's a morning event, Saturday morning. I don't know how many commissioners want to
Mhm.
devote their Saturday morning
You
to
know,
staffing a table.
As you investigate the requirements, perhaps we could, you know, limit it to like the 3 hours when prime visitors, prime shoppers would be here, as opposed to sitting there from 7:30 to 1 o'clock. That would be
Yeah.
my suggestion, yeah.
Well,
Okay.
when I get information, I'll pass it along or report at the next meeting.
Mhm.
Okay,
But what I'm hearing is the commission doesn't see a benefit to doing Village Fest. Is that, because I'm on the hook to get back to the Village Fest organizers. They want to know, are we gonna show up ever again? And if so,
Does
and
this
if we
require-
are we showing up
does this
one
require a
Thursday?
motion? Does this require a motion? Just a vote.
No, because it requires a commitment,
Okay,
right?
right.
I mean, we could put it
That's
into
what
a
it requires.
motion when we figure out what we want to do.
What some of
Right now, we're
the-
just having a conversation.
Some of the commitments that we want to make, be directed by who we identify as those, groups that we really wanna focus on. So that we're not just kind of wasting our energies on everything that we possibly can. I mean,
Well, the point of Village Fest was to get our name out there.
Yeah.
So people knew
But
that we
to
were.
whom? That's the issue.
the-
Like, we're
to the
looking at the
city.
people that we wanna be able to help. That's where we wanna get our name to, as opposed to just,
But I think it's more important that anyone knows we exist, period, because I think we also have power in the idea of information spreading. One person hears that we exist and they tell 3 people and they tell 3 people.
I mean, I think
and so on
that's-
and so forth.
mhm.
I think that's one of the things Lily and I heard from those people that did come up to our table at Village Fest was, oh, I didn't even know City of Palm Springs had a human rights committee.
Mm.
Whether they were homeless or veterans or
You know,
what, I don't know who they
You know,
were, but
I would suggest that we maybe take a vote about whether we should continue on with the Village Fest.
well, and if so,
Well,
how many Village Fest?
Can I,
No.
can I ask a question?
Yes or no?
What,
It's almost impossible.
sorry,
Yes or no?
Well, you can make the motion.
Commissioner Horn?
What did you glean out of the people that, were there any questions that were asked that were like pertinent to us in any sense?
It was a lot of, we didn't know you existed, and a lot of people were in support of us as a commission and what we did. There was a lot of people asking, how do I help, or what do I do on my front? So it was like, people like locals or whoever coming up and being like, that's great that you guys are here. How can I help at home? How can I help behind the scenes? To which we ended up giving out a lot of pamphlets about hate crimes to take home and to look at and look over. And then also giving them information on the commission to come watch or view our meetings
Mhm.
to see how it kind
We
of
did get
functions.
2 individuals who signed up. Gave us their name, email, address. And a phone number. But what we do with that at some point, we'll have to decide. I don't know what to send them, except thank you for stopping by our table.
You know, to continue the endeavor, you have to have more commitment than we are.
Yeah, I think
that's
if
part
we're
of the
gonna
decision.
do Village,
Yeah.
to your point, I think if we're gonna do Village Fest, in whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4 times per month. We need to commit to it. That commitment will apply to any venue where we're gonna be present.
Mhm.
So it's kind of 2 questions, and then we can we can have a motion if we want, but. I just felt it was more important to just have a conversation.
It really
I
is,
get a
Matt.
sense of from the commission.
But you need a decision to the Village Fest people.
Well, yeah,
So I
so,
mean, that's the division.
maybe we have a vote. How many are in, I'll make a motion that the Human Rights Commission
Votes on whether or not they wanna do this.
no longer participate in Village Fest until we get more information about participating at the Certified Farmers Market.
So it's
How's that
basically.
So a motion has been introduced.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a
Fine.
motion.
We're looking for more information.
Yeah, so
Okay, look at that, we can vote.
by the next
Okay.
meeting, I hope to have something, and they may come back and say, no.
Mhm.
So then we'll have to reevaluate, do we want to go anywhere?
But again, I emphasize that, you know, somebody besides David, besides Lily, and besides myself, if we commit to Village Fest, we'll have to staff the table.
Or Certified Farmers Market.
Or certified, yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I would, I like the idea of communicating to our locals. I think that's the most important thing that we do. Tourists, they come and go, and frankly, I've been to the fair and, I wasn't particularly impressed with it.
I totally agree with you. I don't know if there's anything else other than the Certified Farmers Market on Saturday morning
Well, I mean,
that
could
attracts
it be that,
locals.
could we be that we could represent ourselves at the Victory Fund, or let's say the fundraising events, the galas that occur here to raise money for the Boys and Girls Club,
I
or
don't know how that would work.
I don't know, but maybe we could set up something for HRC, for the Equality California, whatever.
Those are one-time events.
Yeah,
Right? Those are one-time
that's true, but like
events. They're not on
Harvey,
a recurring basis.
Harvey Milk would be great to have a presence of Harvey Milk.
We did go to Harvey Milk breakfast this year.
But I
But I
think he's
mean,
talking
that-
about having an actual
Table.
table.
Mhm.
Might be, because it's now there's a connection, or even, I don't know if I'm not gonna say Salvation Army, but I'm gonna say, I don't know, what are the other nonprofit organizations that have events that we could,
Martha's Village,
I'm sorry?
Martha's Village has it.
Yes, so like that, maybe that's a presence that would be felt in the community.
Well,
So
I think we're good.
So it sounds like we definitely need to do a little more research with regard to.
Right, so
What are
I'll
the
I'll
expectations?
hopefully get more information about the Certified Farmers Market, whether we can join that. Then I'll put out, it'll be on the calendar at the next meeting if we can participate, and at that point, commissioners will have to sign up. On the flip side, I'm gonna take Village Fest off of the master calendar until such time as we determine we wanna go back to that. I'll let the Village Fest organizers know to release our space,
Mhm.
basically.
Yeah.
And any other individual events where we can participate, I'll put them on the calendar. That's the whole point of the calendar. You see something coming up and you think, hey, this would be a good opportunity for the Human Rights Commission to have a visible presence by having a table, then somebody has to sign up and say, I'm gonna contact Martha's Village. Because they're holding a big fundraising event. See
You
if
know,
we
I'm
can be part of
involved with
that.
the whole, so some of the
Yeah.
homeless organizations, I can,
So
troll around.
keep an eye on that master calendar. That's why we have it. Thank you.
Okay,
Any further?
Mr. Chair, we have a motion and a second to suspend participation in Village Fest.
Okay. Any
have
further
not
discussion? Let's put it to a vote. Everyone in favor, say hi.
I,
Okay, thank you. So, acclamation.
I do have one other thing that one of the interesting things at the Village Fest that Lily and I were at on October 19th is Dahlia Hayden, who's a anchor on KMIR, channel 3, I think, 13? One of the channels, local channels, came
Local
up
news.
with her daughter. She was one of the people who said, oh, I didn't even know the city of Palm Springs had a human rights commission. I would love to have someone from your group come on to my morning show and talk about your work. I thought, oh my God, this is like a godsend.
Yeah.
We can pack up and leave.
It's like free publicity. If we don't take advantage of this, we should be all ashamed.
Yes, no,
I'm
absolutely.
just saying.
Glad that you shared that. Definitely, let's get in touch with. I had put out to Jay, how do we initiate this contact? Because she's standing by, waiting for somebody to contact her and say, we'd love to come on your show. Mhm.
It is a morning show, and she did say, whoever it is has to get there early.
Mhm.
So I don't know how to proceed with this. I'm opening up this for discussion. How does the commission want to move forward on this request?
So there's sort of been this rule that the chair deals with media. But commissioners, please, feel free to discuss and select a representative as you.
Mhm. So this is the first I hear about it, but absolutely count me in because this is an.
Well, then I'd like to make a motion that the chair contact Dahlia Hayden to arrange for an interview.
Okay, but I called the question for Robert's rules of orders to vote on the first.
Well,
We did.
We did? Oh, we did, okay,
Yeah, we're
so
like-
this is the
yeah.
second, this is the second.
Yeah, it's another.
well, I'd like to say something, I think, Jay, maybe you can clarify this. I think the director of communications has to be in the loop somewhere on that.
Thank you, Commissioner Flood. The Director of Communications is aware of the opportunity. And she provided the instruction that, yes, it is the chair of the commission is the one to make communication with the media.
So thank you for bringing this up. I will certainly reach out to Ms. Hayden tomorrow morning first thing.
Just let her know, it's in regards,
Yeah.
response to her request that was at Village Fest October 19th.
Mhm.
And we can certainly, I don't know, if a group of us can go, or if it just, the chair wants to go, that's fine. I just think we need
We'll make
I
arrangements.
to do it.
One other thing also, I'd like to say, in addition to that particular station, Patrick Evans says I am the desert. And if we have this flexibility, I think we should, touch base with him. He has all kinds of things on his show. And that's usually 12:45 every afternoon.
Is she gonna, if you are gonna be on TV, you're gonna have to be able to answer questions that we're gonna be throwing at you, and you better know the answer, right?
Right.
So mindful of the time, we exhausted this point, we're gonna move on. Thank you so much. This is really great. I don't have anything to report on Main Street. We did have attended the meeting, but there's nothing with Human Rights Commission angle.
Nope. We have to talk about December.
Oh,
So if you all have in your packet the December calendar, And so since that's fast approaching, I
We're gonna take it to the end.
don't know. what it's- Well. Yeah, I didn't think we had a role in the festival, like.
We don't march, we don't have any spots. or
Unless we
anything.
want to.
We did not sign up to march, so.
But I know we have the November. The 22nd is the. No, we don't have the November one. I think it's the 22nd. No, maybe. Transgender,
The Transgender Day of
Day of
Remembrance.
Remembrance.
I attended
is
last year. It's a
November
lovely-
20th,
It's a lovely event, it takes place outside, outside the chambers.
the week from today.
It's open to the public, it's a lovely event. It takes place outside of the city council chambers. And it's a day to remember transgender folks who have been lost. Their names are read. Anyone is invited to join and be there. If you plan to attend, bring your badge so that you can be recognized as a member of the Human Rights Commission. And be a part of the event. It's very somber. We do not speak unless we're asked to say something. But we're just there to, I guess, be part of the community on this particular somber event. There's really nothing more to it than that. Okay? Good,
So do
so
we want to do anything for Internet Universal Human Rights Month next month, since we are the Human Rights Commission? Do we want to
Well,
do anything in recognition of World AIDS Day on December 1st? I mean,
well, I mean, I think if you can get on TV for. The International Human Rights Day, then you can dovetail in with. Our, you know, not agendas, but.
I mean, it's a
our
whole
view-
month, so
Yes.
maybe that's a good way to,
to tell Talia, hey,
hey, we'd like to be on your show, maybe with Patrick Evans too. Someday in December, because it's International Human Rights Month. Tie the two together,
Yeah,
maybe, yeah, that's a great idea, so.
okay. I'll
I think
figure out a
that's
way
the
to reach
only
you both.
thing, really.
You know, I'd like to comment on the One Palm Springs membership meeting. I've been attending that.
I'm sorry, what are you?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was looking on December 12th,
Mhm,
for the activities, One Palm Springs membership meeting.
mhm.
I've been attending that. I'm active in my neighborhood association. Isn't that a place where we could have a plug on the agenda? I mean, everybody and their brother is on that agenda, including the city manager, the interim president of, the city council, the art museum. I mean, there's a lot of, and it's huge. It's like 100 people there, 150. And it's over at the Police Civic Center. But that might be an opportunity of getting some visibility for the Human Rights Committee by having some kind of an agenda item to present something that we're doing or one of these events that are going on. That would be my suggestion. The meeting is, I believe, tomorrow.
It is, but you can't just put something on their agenda.
Well, I'm saying working through their organization with Denise Goolsby.
Mhm.
She doesn't set the agenda. It's set by the executive committee of one PS. So but I'm not sure what you're asking to be on, just one time show up and talk about our
Well,
work.
Could we
type of deal?
potentially have a recurrent agenda item? Obviously, having to negotiate with the executive
Yeah.
committee and their.
But what would we be saying at this meeting?
Well, the events that we participate in, what's going on, I mean, things that we would be saying to the newscaster. Just a 5 or 10 minutes, that would be my suggestion.
Well, I can
Yeah.
certainly ask Peter Sipkin, who's the chair, but to my knowledge, no other agency or commission board or committee has ever been on their agenda to talk about their work. I'm not trying to put down I'm just trying to think through how this might work, because,
Well, maybe we can take this offline, David, but anyhow, it's a suggestion to discuss.
well,
Yeah.
sure, somebody else can have the conversation with you. My plate's full.
Okay, no, I would be more than happy
Yes, okay.
to investigate
Yeah,
that.
I would check with Peter Sipkin on your thoughts and go run with it, but
Mhm. Can we move on? No additional comments from Main Street liaison. Number 6, organized neighborhoods, that was a point that you bringing to everyone's attention. David, is there anything else that we need to know about?
I'm not
PPS?
really attending those meetings, so it's probably
I could assume there was.
better,
possibility,
better for Commissioner Ring to, if she's willing to attend those meetings,
Yeah.
report back on them, because I'm not gonna be able to attend those meetings.
So Commissioner Rankin, you're gonna be representing us at 1PS?
That's correct.
Are you a delegate? Are you an alternate, or are you
No,
for your neighborhood organization?
no, but I'm part of it, yeah.
Cause if you were,
I can get
get
there. I can get there.
Cause then any primary delegate from any neighborhood organization can bring up anything
Okay,
during those members.
thank you. Appreciate that, okay.
That might be your backdoor.
Great. All right, so that's number 6. Number 7, Commissioner Flutter, we have anything to report on this at Highland Gateways?
Nothing to report. I'm hoping I can start attending some of the association meetings again. Haven't been there in a while, but I'm
Okay.
trying to work that out. Nothing to report.
Okay, and having been on Veterans Day Parade, in addition to the parade, is there anything else that we'd like to add?
Nothing wrong. I'm glad everybody turned out. It was a great parade.
That was a wonderful parade. We had such a great time.
Great for you.
You were very popular.
Oh, yes. We have our rock star. Number 9, Youth Education Affairs Standing Committee. Student Representative Tanner, Vice Chair Vignolo, anything to report?
Not that I'm aware of, unless Commissioner Vignolo is doing stuff on my back.
Number
No,
10.
I don't know, if you have,
I haven't
Have
heard
any
back
answer
from the
yet
city
from
clerk
the
yet,
student?
no.
Okay.
So it's, there's conflicting information in the municipal code, so.
what a surprise.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Number 10, mediation liaison. I think at this time, the only commissioner who has been trained on mediation is Commissioner Flood.
Right.
Do we have anything to report on any mediation? issues?
No, and the fact that I'm certified mediator, I'm full on duty for the small claims court, which did today from 8 o'clock in the morning to noon today, so
But no issues on HRC.
nothing on HRC.
Okay, thank you for that, Commissioner Flood. And then we have the new Equity and Social Justice Committee liaison. I believe Commissioner Rimas was
am interested.
interested in taking on this particular role, but so if you could really help us think about how to shape with regards to community involvement, activities, things that you can bring back and report on anything related to this topic, that would be absolutely amazing.
Okay, great. I'll talk to you offline about that.
Okay, so Commissioner Rimas. Beautiful. All right, item 9B, review of sections of the draft rules and standard operating procedures of the Human Rights Commission of the City of Palm Springs document. You all received a copy of a working in progress revision that Commissioner Vignolo, Commissioner Enrique, and Commissioner Cleary have been working on. Thank you for your diligent work on this. Commissioner Vice Chair Vignolo, would you like to take this on? And give us a quick update.
Sure, so you have it in front of you, so you should see it's colored coded, so you see the track changing, you see the language that we are suggesting be deleted. In red is the language we are either replacing it with or inserting. We took the approach to present to you the draft in bite-sized pieces. So you didn't have to read a lot. But before we can go forward, we need consensus. So we can do this quickly or we can be here for many hours, or we can defer, do as much as we want tonight and defer the rest to the next meeting. But this is the best way I think I could figure out to present it to you. So we can, I don't know, walk through it step by step and say, yes, we agree, or no, we need to discuss, or no, we don't like that red line language, let's change it.
So if I can suggest, because we did have an opportunity to get this document in advance, and we all should have read the comments, the suggestions, the edits. If anyone, commissioner, has a question, a comment, a standing issue with the way the revision of this document is going, I would invite you to bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple, I mean, this is the easy part, because when the next time you see it, the document, it's gonna be harder, because we're talking about, instead of committees, we're moving to liaisons, and the liaisons are gonna be driven by the results of that Google form you're gonna get. And that will be a bigger discussion. This is pretty much the technical stuff, right?
Yeah,
It's,
I'd really like to congratulate Commissioner Vignola for all the work he's put into this and some of the creativity and how we're turning.
well, you helped them.
No, really, you've really driven this, so congratulations,
I
and you
think-
should be recognized.
Yeah, I think the biggest part, maybe, I don't know, the budget process on the last page. Our 1996 document said the commission would establish an annual budget developed by the budget committee. Well, in the time I've been on this commission, there's been no budget committee.
We
And
didn't
we've
have a.
never had a budget, so I deleted that language, and I replaced it with what you see in red, that the executive committee would establish a biennial budget approved by the whole commission. Because I don't think we need a budget committee.
Well, I guess my question on the subject of the budget has to go specifically with the stipend that we get as a commission, right? Because that is a very well-defined amount that the city
Well, that's why,
assigns,
I mean, I think it's worth discussing.
assigns to our commission. So it's not like we're not raising funds, we're not putting money in our own pockets, this is volunteer work. So the discussion of a budget sounds moot to me in this particular context.
Do we even need a budget?
Do we need a budget? We have a stipend and we have to manage that stipend appropriately because we have to account for every dollar that we decide to spend that the city has given us.
So the commission has raised funds in the past, and then it went into the budget. It was a film festival that the commission hosted. And then the funds went into the budget. They were not spent that particular year. And I don't think they were carried over to the next year. It was just the stipend that year. But we did find funds to make the commission whole by cutting into other departmental funds. But the budget has typically been used for supplies and the Harvey Milk event.
Breakfast.
And so that's usually what it's for. And in other years past, it was proposed and cut out by budget reviewers. So there's been years without any budget.
Who are the budget reviewers?
There's a finance department, city manager's department, everybody, a budget committee of the council, and then the council does a final approval. So
The only reason I think is having a budget, or at least a budget request that's tied to I'm trying to think of this commission
we
3
request
years,
it every year.
5 years from now, if we're really doing good stuff. Well, then we may, or we want to do important stuff with our at-risk populations, then we would want to develop even a budget request. Now, whether the city says, you're not gonna get, you're gonna get $0 or not. Sure. At least we've made the attempt to put those policymakers on notice that, hey, we've identified these three projects that would really benefit our at-risk populations.
And
But we need some resources to do it. And this is what we've done the hard work and figured out to do this work with these at-risk populations, we need $5,000.
But what would that look like? How are you thinking about it?
How would the budget request
I
look
mean,
like?
you know, would it be for promotional material?
Well, it could be whatever we feel we need to do the work
I'm just
we're
thinking
trying to
The kind
do.
of work we do is educate and advocate and show up and try to influence. So I'm just trying to figure what kind of budget items.
Yeah.
Unless
It's
it's
Could be
usually in the
developing
supplies
promotional
line
material.
I see.
For printed materials and things like that,
Okay.
so.
But it at least gives you some kind of structure to say, you know, we want to do this, but we need this, and then we have to
Mhm.
beg and holler and plead.
I'm intrigued by something Jay said, that this commission has hosted an event, and I think that's like great. I mean, if we host something related to, you know, like you said, the film festival or anything, to host something is, that's a lot of visibility to
Mhm.
host.
That's correct. But
Jay,
without
did
a
you-
budget or even an
Well-
attempt, then I'm not sure what the point of the commission.
Commissioner Reynolds, Jay, do you have prior budgets from the Human Rights Commission that you could show us that you can probably look at?
There's gotta be like a
Probably
spreadsheet
not.
somewhere.
I'm sure there probably is somewhere.
For budget, it's one line item that goes in and maybe it survives, and it's maybe a couple $1,000. This year we have $3,500. So, you know, we've had these little successes. But again, it's used for some standard things that have been used in the past, so. We could probably, try and track down expenditures over the years. But that'll amount to, you know, maybe printing some collateral material and sponsoring Harvey Milk Breakfast attendees, and that's probably it. But you know, I'll see if we can dig that up. But you know, just I guess before I forget, it would be good to have this take place in March or April instead of July. July's already the new fiscal year. So to get it in as part of the initial budget request, March or April, I can easily insert it with the department budget. And it'll be part of that. Just again, people go through it line by line and they're gonna wanna know what it's
It just
for.
gives you
So
an,
if I,
it would give you an idea of what, because how did you come up with the $3,500?
it's just been what's carried over each of the years, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
So it's-
so it would help you, I think,
Yeah.
if you're gonna be the conduit to ask for city funds to have a
But
sense from us.
generally, if you're going to request money, you have to have like what you're thinking of.
we have to explain why we want that money and how we're gonna use it.
Yeah,
And I think that is exactly the thing I wanted to mention is like, if we can identify either a project which has an educational component to that, or maybe another project that has the advocacy component to that, and if we can quantify, we can use that to start building a project and then present a request to the city for funds. Without that, it's like, okay, so they're giving us $3,500, which it's already being used on things like our budgets and probably a little bit of money for the Harvey Milk Breakfast. But I think that's, as commission, what I'd like for us to do as we move this conversation forward is to identify those kinds of projects for which we might need resources. And then quantify what those resources look like so that we can make the argument to the city that we need money to be able to do these kinds of things.
perfect.
Right, even if it's just simple line items.
Line items,
That's all.
Mhm.
I'm just
But to
thinking,
your
we need
point,
to
though,
do that in the,
To your point, Commissioner Horn, though, I think organizing some kind of an event, you know, I mean, or collaborating with another kind of a human rights group like the DAP Health Equity Walk was really wonderful. I mean, you know, could we piggyback onto some other events that already exist? It's just kind of throwing out some ideas, but having some event where we really brand ourselves in the community, I think is maybe something we could investigate as a project.
Yeah, that's why I like the word hosting, because if we host something, we're on the map. Right?
Totally, I totally agree with it. I'm just saying we should do that by the end of the calendar year, so that we can put together something on a spreadsheet, get it to Jay, March or April, so he can start working those wheels to get us what we need to host those events, to attend these seminars, to get out and do the work we want to do. That's all I'm trying to lay out, is that the process for getting the financial resources we need to do all the things you want to do.
Okay.
So, and I think that's, gotta put it in our SOP. We're gonna do that at the end of each calendar year. The executive committee is gonna finalize it in January or February, get it to Jay by March or April.
And I'm thinking even about educational resources for us, I mean, conferences, you know? No, I mean, for
She
us to
wants to go
really.
on a field trip.
No, I mean,
I'm mindful of the
It's
time.
huge in California.
It is, no, I totally agree with you.
Okay,
Mhm.
mindful of the time, any additional questions on the work of this particular document, the edits, anything that any commissioner would like to bring?
I think that you've done a noble job, you guys, and I think, maybe with the exception of just a little bit more work on the budget process, we can accept as it's done.
So do we have a motion to accept this work?
With just a little bit of revision.
Let me just add for the discussion purposes that the city attorney took a look at these proposed changes and
Oh, we already did.
thought that new powers such as expenditure and subpoena powers may be things that the city council would have to agree to. So those changes would likely have to go to city council if they're included in this.
Understandable.
With those.
Well, the
edits or with
subpoena
this-
power, just so you know. I didn't touch it, so it's been there
That's the
since
old thing.
nineteen ninety-six.
Understood.
Okay,
Okay, so,
Scratching their head about that.
Yes.
yeah.
you know, if he wants to take it out,
Probably not.
then he needs to let you know, so we take it out.
Yeah,
because
but it
it's-
wasn't in edits yet.
Then maybe what we should do
Yeah.
is approve this as it is, then to go to the
Anybody have any issue with
city.
goal number 3? Cause that we talked a lot about that. Just Commissioner Ranky and I, and we changed it a little bit.
You mean the agenda format?
No.
No,
Goal
no,
goal number 3.
Very front page.
Mhm.
So I think it's important that everybody
Yeah, no, this is fine.
agree on the goals of the Human Rights
Mhm.
Commission.
So if you look at the document.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine, no issues there.
Okay, great.
No, I think.
Thank you. She came up with it.
Yeah, it's very well done.
It was definitely a collaboration.
Well, it was a collaboration. She had a great idea on the.
Any
as they
additional
did.
comments?
Great. So next time we'll look at the other
Alright.
remaining parts of it.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Greer to accept this. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Remus, second. Any further discussion? We're putting it to a vote. Those in favor, say aye, and raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay, it passes by acclamation.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you for this work. I have a couple of items that I captured for the agenda for next meeting. Remember to send your suggested items to the agenda 2 weeks before the next meeting.
I think,
Yes.
I'd like this to, in the last 2 meetings, we've had, people sit here and tell us that what we had produced in the past is a lie. I'm not sure who we need to have on the agenda to be able to clarify this. Now, I know I was involved in the, with the Friends of Bogart and in being transparent, Frank's daughter works for me and I knew Frank very well, so I have to tell you that I worked with Lisa Middleton to try to ameliorate some of the nastiness that was going on about Frank, because I think he was a fine man, but that said, it seems as if there needs to be something from this commission. I know you guys were all involved in this over I don't really like to be told that what came out of the commission is false.
Correct.
So how do we get to the next steps? Do we get Doug Evans back? Do we get David back? What do we do? Or
Jay,
do
would you like to make a brief comment about the role of city attorney and all of this?
No.
Is that appropriate? No.
No.
Better not to
So this is come before, and Mr. Chair, please jump in. The city attorney has told us, well, this matter has gone to the city council's taken action. And so it's, in a sense, out of the Human Rights Commission's hands. However, it's sounding as if there's still some rumblings, and I'd have to confer with the city attorney on which would be appropriate for opening that up, so.
But
Very, very important to keep that in mind.
if I could just, I mean, I understand what the city attorney is saying, but I also concur with Commissioner
No one-
Greer
no one is
that
saying- No one is against
it's
that.
if the Human Rights Commission, as it's constituted today with these 9 people sitting around this table, desire to revisit a previously issued Human Rights Commission report, which, to my knowledge, maybe a couple of current commissioners were part of, not all. I know I certainly had no input because I wasn't on the commission at the time. I think it's within our right as a Human Rights Commission to say, we wish to revisit the contents of the previously issued Human Rights Commission. If nothing else, but to say, we've done our own independent research today and we concur with what was written 5 years ago or 3 years ago, whenever it was issued.
I think though, we still have to get the attorney involved in this, we just can't. So
I
we can't,
disagree, I think.
we
that-
can't address the people who make comments, so that's the problem.
No, that is problematic, in that we're not able to question them or anything of that nature. But I think it is something worth revisiting, and it's not a very comfortable thing to be sitting on the other side of the fence and saying, being called a liar, when we really weren't even involved in it.
We've spent
But,
more
you
than a
know,
year on this particular situation, and it is very unpleasant. And very uncomfortable. We gotta follow Brown Act, we gotta follow our city attorney's direction. This is clearly above all of our pay grades. And while it is very, very uncomfortable, and I agree with the comments, and no one really disagrees with the fact that the commission could agree to produce a different report, if that is what is that the commission wants to do.
I don't think that's the case, too. I think that the case is well, what I'm suggesting and what I would like is to review what has been done. To see where the concurrence is, or if there are any questions. I know that, one of the organizations that I belong to, which is, Roundtable, is a group of CEOs in Palm Springs, and we've met, I remember what we met with council member, Hart, and she actually refused to take any ownership over what the council had, well, under his leadership had presented, so, I mean, that right away sort of raises a bit of a question, I think you were on the commission at that point, I don't know if you take ownership, or nobody seems to want to take ownership of anything. and I think
We joined the
that's-
commission after this was produced.
Yeah, okay,
So is it possible
is it possible
to have the city attorney physically come to a Human Rights Commission meeting and have a conversation with this commission as to what we can or cannot do or
I think
say
that's
in
appropriate.
response to public comments that we're receiving regarding the previously issued Human Rights Commission report?
I believe so, except for the fact that the city attorney is only at City Hall on Wednesdays and Thursdays. and our meetings are on Mondays, but
So let's call a special meeting.
there may be an.
We could call a special meeting and have it via
And have
Zoom.
that be
Or
the only thing on the
attend the
agenda.
Or could he zoom in
Yeah.
I don't know.
on a Monday? meeting?
It's a question to put to the city attorney. See,
Okay,
And also.
So we're gonna call
And also would it be appropriate for current commissioners to be able to review what was actually presented from the commission? So that we can at least understand what we're being called a liar about.
So the report's out there. I'm not sure what it would be to review. So, I mean, that information's there.
The report's out there, but if there's erroneous information in it, I think that's what they're
They're
saying,
saying, well,
then it's
saying
incumbent on
erroneous,
the
it's
current
fallacious.
commission to correct it, is
Is
it
that
not?
beyond our scope, given the legal implications of what's happened here?
that's the whole point.
Well, that's what we need.
That's why we need,
clarification.
that's why we can't, unfortunately, our hands are tied until we get direction from city.
And if that's true, then I think it behooves the city attorney or the city to put out a statement to the public that says, please don't come to the Human Rights Commission and ask them any further questions about this report,
Um,
because they will not answer you.
I think that begs the question, so what is our responsibility when people come and allege these kinds of opinions or whatever? Are we supposed to respond?
We cannot engage with public testimony.
I mean,
What happens then? What's the point of coming? I know we can't, but if
It's
someone.
public record, it goes on public record.
But can we
People come
agendize
to
a
give a
You can
testimony.
agenda.
Right.
That's what we need to
Provide
do.
public-
We need to agendize responses and not just ignore.
yeah, the thing is,
Which is what I'm saying right now.
we're not
We need to
judicial,
agendize.
we can't, we don't have any kind of judicial, we're advisory to the council, is what we are, we have to remember that, right?
Agree, but if we agendize it and we determine that there is a erroneous fact in that report, then we would recommend to the council or ask them, hey, we found something that's
But
wrong.
David, how would we be able to find out what's wrong? This has been investigated.
The same way it was written originally,
Again,
right?
this is above our pay grade. We're gonna do diligence. We're gonna follow and see if we can bring the attorney to talk to the commission and figure out what is the way forward on this. Until that point, please keep in mind that it really is in the hands of the city council and that our city attorney would be the right one to answer any questions.
So do we have to have a special meeting?
We'll try to see if we can schedule a special meeting with.
I mean, if they can attend by Zoom on a Monday meeting, we can do that, or
Okay,
if you would
well,
like
if you
to
could get an
have-
answer by the executive committee meeting,
Yeah, or to the.
then we'll know whether we need to call a special meeting.
Yes, or perhaps he could address the executive committee initially,
Okay,
if possible. I don't know.
any additional announcements?
Well, I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Yes. So. Diwali, are there any suggestions about how we can recognize this particular celebration called Diwali, Religious Festival of Lights? It's, members of the South Asian community are celebrating one of the important periods of the religious calendar. It's a 5-day festival of lights. Any suggestions on how we can celebrate this?
I think we
Make
just put
public-
it in the minutes that the commission recognizes in the South Asian community and commemoration of their Diwali, and we
Okay.
acknowledge
let's make sure
their
that this makes it
accomplishments
into the
and look
minutes.
forward to working with them.
Does that require a move and vote?
No, because it's not an agenda item.
Oh, I'm not clear.
It's
Have
not an
to
agenda.
comment in the minutes and
Okay,
Okay,
leave it at that.
okay.
any additional announcements or comments?
Well, I was gonna make an announcement, but I think I'm gonna submit something for the agenda, so I don't think I need to really say anything at this point.
Or you can do it now, or you can submit it in the next 2 weeks.
Well, if you wanna know, basically, I chaired a commission called the Human Services Commission in West Hollywood for 6 years. And I was wondering if this commission would consider being a human services commission as well as a human rights commission. Because then what comes under our purview are the nonprofit agencies, which we can really make progress by communicating with nonprofits, especially since they deal with the very people that we represent. So I'm gonna submit that. Is that vague enough?
Submit
That's
it,
very
It's
vague.
kind
submit it for.
As an item for
And
discussion.
try to be as specific as you can. With,
Can you
with regards to the
Okay.
request.
I mean, if you're talking about
Can you
changing or
clarify the
adding,
definitions of what you actually mean?
Yes.
Good, excellent.
if you're talking about changing or adding to our name, that's a code, that's in the actual Palm Springs Municipal Code. So that's a bigger deal. If you're suggesting that we incorporate some of the work that you're familiar with from the West Hollywood Human Services Commission into our work, that's a no-brainer.
Okay, so if it doesn't become part of the title of our commission, it could be a subcommittee. Or it could be a task force, or it could be any one of those things, and we could report back to the commission.
That's a good idea. Okay. An ad hoc committee,
An ad hoc committee. Mhm.
I like it.
Fantastic. Any additional comments before we adjourn? Okay, so being 7:15, we're gonna move to adjourn. The commission will adjourn to a regular scheduled meeting on Monday, December 11, 2023. Thank you very much. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank
Well, we're still-
Thank you.
Good night.
Well, we're still-